Okay, very good. So get started. So, anyone have any question from lecture 11 or lecture 12? lecture 11 12 থেকে কারো question আছে?
No, sir.
From the virus. Okay, so if you don't have any question, I will talk about lecture 13 today. The video lectures for lecture 13 is not in the box. Okay, so please follow this recorded class as reference. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Oh, just a minute. I will share the file first. Okay. So you can see the lecture PowerPoint slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, let's start. So I'll discuss about this chapter. And if you have any question, just feel free to interrupt. Okay. You don't have to wait for the end. So anytime you can just ask me question. Okay. So lecture 13. In this lecture, we'll discuss about bacterial pathogens. And this lecture is about bacterial pathogens. So what bacterial pathogenesis is? I mean, when we say pathogenesis, what does it mean? So basically, pathogenesis means the complete course how a disease occurs in our body. Say a pathogenic bacteria, I mean how it causes disease in our body, how it enter in our body, how it cause damages in our body, how it escape the defense mechanism of our body, and then how it get excreted from our body. Okay, so from the enter to exit. I mean the pathogen enter in our body and then exit in our body. The whole all the steps in between they belongs to the pathogenesis. Okay, so pathogenesis in general, pathogenesis means how a pathogen cause disease. Okay, so there is some terminology says pathogenicity. Pathogenicity means the ability to cause disease. But how pathogenic a bacteria, how pathogenic is COVID-19, how pathogenic is Shigella dysentery. Okay, what is their pathogenicity? So the ability to cause disease is called pathogenicity. And the weapons or you can say factors by which the pathogen cause disease is called virulence. Okay, it's called virulent factors. Okay, so when I mean a pathogen, say suppose a bacteria, when it causes disease in a host, say a human pathogen, when it causes disease to human, it is several things, several factors. We'll talk about these factors later in this chapter. So all these factors, all those factors are called virulent factors. Okay, and then what virulence is? Virulence means the extent of pathogenicity. The more virulent a pathogen means it will cause more severe disease. Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
virulence বলতে কি বোঝাচ্ছে how fast it can spread?
Okay. So it's one part. Okay. মানে ধরো how fast spread করতে পারে এটা হচ্ছে ওই ভায়োলেন্স ধরো if one pathogen can spread very fast, it will be more virulent, right?
Yes, sir.
So like usually these things, the virulence things, I mean the virulence, it doesn't depend on only one trait. মানে শুধুমাত্র একটা বিষয়ের উপরে ভায়োলেন্সটা ডিপেন্ড করে না, right? I mean, how virulent a pathogen will be, it's a cumulative effect of all the virulence factors that it has. You got my point?
Just
It's a cumulative effect. So, for example, if a pathogenic bacteria can enter very easily in our body, then can or say a pathogenic bacteria can spread very easily, then enter in our body very easily. They produce some toxin or enzymes by which it can rapidly cause damages in our tissue. Then it will be more violent. When it's a cumulative effect of all the violence factors of that pathogen. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, as I said in the beginning of today's lecture, that there are several steps of pathogenicity. I mean, how a pathogen causes disease. There are several steps. Okay. It's not a single step or mono-step process. Okay. There are several steps. So these are those basic steps. Entry of the pathogen in our body. I mean, the host body. Adhere, penetrate, damage. Okay. So I'll discuss these steps by this photo. Okay. So the first step, but the first thing needed to be done if a pathogen wants to cause disease. So suppose a bacteria wants to cause disease in our body. The first thing it has to do, it has to enter into the body. Okay. So there are several different ways by a pathogen can enter in our body. But it can enter through our mouth, through our nose, or through our damaged tissue. So for example, there is a damage or cut in our skin. So it can enter through there. Okay. Or it can enter through our like food. Okay. So the first thing, the pathogen have to enter into our body, enter in our body through a portal of entry. Okay. So portal of entry means the port by which the pathogen enter into our body. So for example, if a bacteria enters through the nose, okay, or then of the nose, okay. So its portal of entry will be the nose or the respiratory tract. Okay, nose is a part of the respiratory tract, right? So if the pathogen enter through the nose, uh, I mean in air, then its portal of entry will be the respiratory tract. So if a pathogen enters through the, say, for example, food, we consume the food and then it goes into our stomach. So its portal of entry will be GI tract, gastrointestinal tract. Okay, first thing. So first, the pathogen have to enter in our body through the portal of entry. Then after it enter our body, it have to move to the tissue where it cause disease. So for example, if it's a respiratory virus pathogen, then after entering through our nose, I mean our airway system, respiratory system, it has to go to the lungs and attach to the lung tissue. Okay, so then I mean, it has to travel to the lung and it has to attach to the lung tissue. It is called adhere. Okay, so first it will enter, the pathogen will enter, then it will adhere to the target tissue, and then that pathogen have to enter the target tissue. Okay, it will adhere to the target tissue, then it will penetrate the target tissue and get into inside the target tissue. Okay, then it will cause the damage of that tissue. Then it will get out from the tissue. Okay, and eventually get out from the host. So if it is a human bacteria, then it will get out from the human body. Okay, so these are the basic steps. So I mean, from the next slide, I'll talk about a little bit in more details about these different steps. So first, portal of entry. So we already know what portal of entry means. The way by through which the pathogen enter in our body. Okay, and there are different portal of entry for the pathogen. We can classify them into three groups: mucous membrane, skin, parenteral loop. Okay, so these are the route or way or the port through which pathogen enter in our body. First, mucous membrane. Okay. Several of our body tract or tissue, they have mucous membrane, and many bacteria can enter into the body through the mucous membrane. So which are those organs, system or the tract who have the mucous membrane, respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract, urogenital tract, okay, conjunctiva in the eye. So these four part of our body, they have mucous membrane. Okay. So usually, I mean, where the mucous membrane resides. So imagine the gastrointestinal tract. It's a tube, right? It's a tube-like structure. Okay. So the inner part, the most inner part, and the mucous membrane is located in the most inner part. Okay. একেবারে ভেতরের দিকে হচ্ছে মিউকাস মেমব্রেনটা থাকে। Okay. So the bacteria, there are several bacteria who enter in our body through the mucous membrane. Okay. So for example, um, uh, mm, okay, influenza. Its portal of entry is mucous membrane of the respiratory tract. Influenza, right? Vibrio cholerae. Its portal of entry is enter in our body through the mouth, through the mucous membrane, right, of gastrointestinal tract. Okay. Okay, so these are the mucous membrane, then skin. Okay. In general, skin is a difficult organ. Okay, skin is regarded as an organ nowadays. Okay, in the past, skin was not regarded as an organ, but nowadays, skin is considered as an organ. It's kind of, we can say, the largest organ of our body. Okay, anyway, so usually, skin is not penetrable by the pathogen. I mean, the bacteria, they cannot enter through intact skin. Intact skin দিয়ে না bacteria entry করতে পারে না, okay? Because it is tough for the bacteria to enter through the skin. The structure of skin is tough, quite integrated structure, okay? However, sometimes our skin can get broken, right? So like, say, for example, by cut or like damage in the skin, okay, or like, say, for example, uh, biting from some animal or anything, okay. So if our skin is damaged, then through those damaged places, the pathogen can enter in our body, okay. And also we know that in our skin there are lots of hair, right, and the hair, there are hair follicles or sweat glands in our skin, okay. So these are kind of gates, right? The hair follicle or the sweat glands, they are kind of gates, so they can get open. Okay, they are not that integrated. So some pathogen can also enter through those sweat glands or hair follicles. Okay. Okay. Then the last portal of entry, parenteral route. So what are the parenteral routes? Usually everything except this belong to the parenteral route. So for example, puncture or injection. So for example, someone is pushing injection in our body. So when they will push the injection, there will be a damage in the tissue, right? Or bites, or bites from like bad insects. Okay, scratches, surgery. Okay, splitting of skin due to swelling or dryness. Okay, these are parenteral routes. Okay, now these are the portal of entry by which the pathogen can enter in our body. So, can a pathogen enter by every portal of entry? No, right? Because usually all the pathogens, they have preferred portal of entry. Preferred portal of entry means, so for example, Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay, this is a bacteria. It causes lung infection, and eventually, if the infection is not treated, it develop into pneumonia. Pneumonia is a condition. Okay, so basically, any lung infection, they can convert it into pneumonia. Okay. Anyway, Streptococcus pneumoniae, this bacteria cause pneumonia. But can it enter through the gastrointestinal tract? No. it cannot enter through the gastrointestinal tract. Streptococcus pneumoniae can enter in our body only through the respiratory tract. Okay. So although both gastrointestinal tract and the respiratory tract, both of them have mucus, but yes, the Streptococcus pneumoniae, it enter only through the respiratory tract, not the GI tract. Okay. So, one cause is the environment of respiratory tract and gastrointestinal tract are different, right? So the gastrointestinal tract, it has a high acidic condition. But we know we have acid in our stomach, right? Powerful acid. So even if the Streptococcus pneumoniae enters through the gastrointestinal tract, it can enter through the gastrointestinal tract, but it will not survive there. Okay. Just after it enters into in our body through the gastrointestinal tract, it will die because of the acid of our stomach. Okay. So if it wants to cause disease, it must have to enter through the respiratory tract. Okay. So in comparison, this bacteria, Salmonella typhi, it causes typhoid fever. Okay. It can enter only by the gastrointestinal tract, not by the respiratory tract or skin or anything. Okay. But theoretically, they can these bacteria they can enter through other portal of entry, but they will not be they cannot cause disease if they enter through other portal of entry. Okay, so a pathogen can cause disease only if it enter in our body through the preferred portal of entry. Okay, well now the
But sir,
question is,
related to
yeah,
culture postulator, doesn't this follow one of the rules of Koch's postulates where the pathogen can only be found in the diseased organ? So যেমন pneumonia শুধু lungs কে
yeah,
affect করে, so we only find it in lungs, which is why
yeah,
we don't find it in the GI tract. But salmonella
yeah.
শুধু GI তে affect করে, that's why we only find it in the GI and not in this one.
এটাই অ্যাকচুয়ালি একই যে ওই কারণেই হ্যাঁ it's basically support the course postulate. Yeah, you are absolutely right. Okay, now, okay, then I have a question for you. Okay, so anyone can answer. So we know that the pathogen they have preferred portal of entry. Can a same pathogen have multiple portal of entry? মানে একটা pathogen কি I mean can a pathogen enter in our body through different portal of entry?
Yes, sir,
What
it
do you
can.
think? It can, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can I give one example, please? Any example? I mean, it's okay. If you can
Sir,
remind any example, is also yeah. Please.
novel coronavirus, it can transmit through mouth and nasal.
Exactly. 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 Yeah. The novel coronavirus. It has multiple portal of entry, right? It can enter in our body through the respiratory tract and also the GI tract. So,
Yes,
so
sir.
that's why it can cause both infection in our lung and also in the gut, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Thank you. So, although I mean, okay, so most of the pathogens basically they have preferred portal of entry, but so that's why actually I mean, like the infection caused by the pathogen are tissue specific because they have preferred portal of entry. But if a pathogen can use multiple portal of entry, then it will cause infection to multiple tissue or organs. Okay. Okay, then. Okay, so now we understand about the portal of entry. Then, okay, so now the next question. Say a pathogen have entered in our body through its preferred portal of entry. Will it be able to cause disease? Anyone? And if a pathogen enter into our body through its preferred portal of entry, will it cause disease? Will it be able to cause disease if it's just entered? মানে শুধুমাত্র আমাদের বডিতে ঢুকে গেলে কি ডিজিজ করতে পারবে একটা প্যাথোজেন?
So doesn't it need time to like adapt to the surroundings or তারপর? Just like in that bacterial graph. কারণ আমরা দেখছি the moment that we put in the nutrient solution, there was still like a stationary phase. So
Yeah,
not stationary phase.
it needs some time. Okay, now think we don't care about the time. Okay, No, it's okay if it takes some time. I mean, if the pathogen takes some time after it entering our body, it is okay. So we are ignoring that time. I mean, if it takes 1 hour or 10 minutes, it's okay. But it will cause disease, right? So my question was, if pathogen enter in our body through its preferred portal of entry, is it guaranteed that it will cause disease?
No, sir.
No.
Yeah. Why? Okay, you are right. Actually, there is no guarantee that it will cause disease.
Because sir, maybe we might already have like a vaccine for it, so we have the antibodies for the pathogen prior, which is why
Yeah.
it works on it immediately when it enters.
Yeah. Okay. You guys are right. Okay. So, okay, you are right. I mean, if we are already vaccinated, we will not get the disease. Okay. So, forget about the vaccination thing or anything. Say, for example, the person is not vaccinated. Okay. Is not vaccinated. So, that person do not have any antibody against that particular pathogen. Okay. Well, I'll explain. So, if a pathogen enters the body, it does not guarantee. I mean, even if a pathogen enters the body through its portal of entry, it does not guarantee that it will cause disease because there is a minimum number. I mean, say if a pathogen wants to cause disease, it has to enter in a minimum number. Okay, I'll give you an example. Say, for example, okay, the example is not here. Okay, so like, say for example, one Vibrio quality enter in our body, it will not cause disease. Say for example, 10 Vibrio quality enter our body, it will not cause disease, highly likely. So every pathogen has a minimum, has a requirement of minimum number for every pathogen. I mean, if a pathogen wants to cause disease, it's a minimum number of that pathogen have to enter in our body. Okay, মানে জাস্ট প্যাথোজেন আমাদের বডিতে ঢুকে গেলেই না আমাদের ডিজিজ হবে না, একটা মিনিমাম নাম্বার লাগে। Okay, why this minimum number is required? There are explanations. So, for example, our body has own defense system, right? So, if a
Yes,
very
sir.
few number of pathogen enter our body, maybe they will not withstand, or the pathogen cannot fight against our defense system if the number of pathogen is low. Or say for example, a pathogen enter in our body in the gastrointestinal tract. Okay, so it has to enter through the gastrointestinal tract. I mean, through our mouth. It has to travel all the way to our stomach, and then it has to attach to the stomach tissue. Okay, so in between, some time is required for this, right? So in between, the many pathogens they may die because of the acidic environment, and also they may get flushed out from our body. Right? There is movement in our stomach or gastrointestinal tract, so they can die because of the environment. They can die because of the whole defense system. They can get just flushed out from our body. Okay, so if a pathogen wants to cause disease, it has to enter in our body with a minimum number. Okay, so this number varies from pathogen to pathogen. Okay, it will varies from pathogen to pathogen. Okay, some pathogen, their only few number will be good enough to cause disease. For some pathogen, this number is quite big. Okay, so many things actually. I mean, this number, it depends on many things. But how good this pathogen to escape our body defense system. Okay, and also it may vary in person to person. So, for example, some person they say, okay, think like this, that a person his natural immune system is very strong, and another person whose natural immune system is weak. Okay, so the minimum number required for the pathogen to cause disease will vary between these two persons. Okay, মানে অনেকগুলো ফ্যাক্টরের উপর না ডিপেন্ড করে যে মিনিমাম কতগুলো নাম্বার লাগছে একটা ব্যাকটেরিয়া বা একটা প্যাথোজেনের ডিজিজটা করতে। ওকে, ওই প্যাথোজেনের নিজের উপরও ডিপেন্ড করে যে তার তার হোস্টের ডিফেন্সটাকে ঠেকানোর আহ, ক্ষমতা কতখানি, প্লাস হচ্ছে হোস্টের নিজের ডিফেন্স কতখানি স্ট্রং। ওকে, ওকে, এনিওয়ে, so these are just theory, but mathematically, so we can define this thing, that what is the requirement of a pathogen to cause, what is the minimum number required for a pathogen to cause disease. Okay, we can mathematically express them, and this is actually necessary. So whenever we characterize a pathogen, we want to say about like how powerful the pathogen is. I mean, how virulent the pathogen is. We use some mathematical terms, and two of those mathematical terms is ID50 and LD50. ID50 means infectious dose 50. Okay, so what does it mean? Infectious dose for 50% of the test population. Okay, so this ID50 and okay, LD50 is lethal dose 50, and it means lethal dose for 50% of the test population. Okay, so what? Okay, how actually these values, these ID50 and LD50 values are measured? We use test organism for that. Say, for example, okay, first think about this scenario. Say there are 100 people, and how? Okay, so there are 100 people, and if, say, for example, 10,000 bacteria of a particular bacteria, okay, 10,000 bacteria is required to cause to make 50 to cause infection in 50 people. Okay, so okay, imagine again that there are 100 people and 10,000 bacteria is required to infect 50 people. Then this 10,000 is the ID50 value of that bacteria. This also, did you understood what ID50 is? যে ধরো 100 জন মানুষ আছে, হ্যাঁ, 100 জন মানুষের মধ্যে 50 জনের মধ্যে ইনফেকশন করতে কি পরিমাণ ব্যাকটেরিয়াটা লাগবে বা প্যাথোজেনটা লাগবে, এটা হচ্ছে ওই প্যাথোজেনটার ID50 ভ্যালু। Infectious dose required for 50% of the test population get infected. So then what LD50 is? LD50 is like, say, okay, again, imagine the scenario. There are 100 people and say 10,000 bacteria is required to kill 50 people. There are total 100 people and 10,000, if 10,000 of that bacteria infect these people, then 50 people will die. This is called LD50, lethal dose 50. Okay, so the number of pathogens required to kill 50% of the population. Okay, so these two terminology, LD and ID50, LD50 and ID50 are frequently used to characterize or talk about the virulence of a pathogen. Okay, ID50 and LD50 value. So here
So,
are
sir,
some examples. Yeah.
so ID50 হচ্ছে the number of bacteria required to just infect them. So
Yeah.
মনে করেন আপনি আগে বলছেন, you said that 10,000 bacteria required for to kill 50% of the population. So ID50 will be something like 5,000. এরকম কিছু একটা?
No, 10,000. 10,000 is the, so 10,000 দরকার 50% পপুলেশনে ইনফেক্ট করতে।
Okay, yes.
তাহলে 10,000টাই হচ্ছে ID50।
Okay, and LD50 will LD50 be higher or will it be lower than ID50?
Usually it will be higher.
It will be higher. Okay.
It should be higher.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So unless the morbidity rate is 100%, the LD50 will be always lower than ID50.
Okay, sir.
This also.
Yes, sir. Who's right? Thank you.
Okay, so here's some examples. Say Vibrio cholerae, its ID50 is 10 to the power 8. It means 10 to the power 8 Vibrio cholerae is required to infect 50% of the population. An ID50 of anthrax is 5,000 to 10,000 spores. Okay, then, okay, so what I was saying that ID50 will be always higher than the LD50 because all the people don't die who get infection, right? Say for example, uh, say for example, COVID-19. Okay, so do all the people die if they get infected by COVID-19? সবাই মারা যায় COVID-19 ইনফেকশন হলে?
No,
না
sir.
কিন্তু, right? No, right? So till now, I think the morbidity rate or mortality rate of COVID-19 is kind of around 3%. Okay, 3% people die among 100 people. I mean, if 100 people get infected, then 3% people will die. Okay, so the ID50 of COVID-19 will be lower. Okay, and LD50 will be much higher. Okay. Okay, then LD50. Okay, so
Sir,
yeah,
sir, what will be the lethal dose number of HIV?
LD50 value.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I actually don't know that. We have to Google it, but I think it's not yet measured in that way.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I think it's not measured in that way. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Because actually, for HIV type diseases, measuring this kind of things, measuring LD50 is kind of easy, but ID50 is difficult because the transmission process of HIV is different, right? It don't transmit through air or it don't transmit through what through food. Right? It transmits only through the blood and other body fluids. So for this
Yes, sir.
kind of pathogen, it's very difficult. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir. But
for yeah
my question was, sir, if someone dies from cholera toxin, not
yeah
cholera virus, sorry, bacteria directly, would
yeah.
will it be counted on LD50?
Okay. So yeah, it will be counted. So LD50 means like how many people die actually. Okay. So you actually have asked a very basic question. The thing is, by this LD50 or ID50 value, we actually don't go that deep. We just observe how many people die.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
So basically, by just by the value LD50, we cannot say anything about the details, steps of the pathogenesis. Pathogenesis. Okay. We just observe, okay, how many people get infected and how many people die. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So by this value, we can just get an idea, overall idea that how violent that pathogen is, how powerful that pathogen is. Okay.
Okay, sir.
মানে খুব বেশি আমরা এগুলো কিন্তু LD50 ID50 ভ্যালু তোমার লিমিটেশন আর কি। আমরা ওভারঅল একটা আইডিয়া পাই এই ভ্যালুগুলো থেকে। ডিটেলস কিন্তু আমরা জানি মানে ডিটেলস কোনো আইডিয়া আমরা পাবো না যে কিভাবে আসলে সে হোস্টের ভিতরে ডিজিজটা করতেছে ইনফেকশন গুলো করতেছে। ঠিক আছে?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so this kind of value, like ID and LD50 value, are more frequently used for contagious disease. The COVID-19 is a contagious one, right? Vibrio cholerae is a contagious one. But HIV, HIV is also contagious, but it's different kind of contagious, right? So, okay, so anyway, then violence factors. Okay, so what are violence factors? We already know the things or weapons by which a pathogen cause disease. Okay, so what helps these violence factors offers the pathogen? Okay, so a pathogen is usually a pathogen. They have different violence factors at the same time. They have several different kinds of violence factors, and different violence factors help them differently. So, for example, what kind of help the violence factors offers to the pathogen? To adhere, to avoid phagocytosis, to penetrate the host cell, to produce enzymes, produce toxins. Okay, so these are the uh, help that the virus factors offers to the pathogen, and with this help, the pathogen cause the disease. So, for example, some virus factors they help the pathogen to adhere or attach to the host tissue. Okay, so if they can attach or adhere to the host tissue or host surface, then they can just be there. They will not get washed off. Okay, okay. Yeah, so some virus factors they help the pathogen to avoid phagocytosis. So what phagocytosis? Okay, inside our body we have immunity. We know we heard the word immune system, right? Immunity. So our body have defense system. So in general, this defense system is called immune system. So there are different there are different immune systems in our body. Different means like some are innate immunity. Okay, so there are some cells which always circulate inside our body. Okay, and they non-specifically can fight against any foreign invaders. Any foreign invaders means virus, bacteria, or other invaders. Okay, and also our body have another defense system which is called adaptive immune system. So adaptive immune system are specific. Okay, so when our body, when a pathogen enter in our body, then our body produce a specific uh, we call them antibody. Okay, our body produce a specific antibody against that pathogen. Those are adaptive. But first, our body has always some defense. Usually, there are some cells. Okay, our body there are some cells. They are always circulating through our body, and these cells they can non-specifically fight against any foreign invader. Okay, so there is some cells which are called phagocytic cells. Okay, so phagocytic cells are always in our body. They are circulating through our blood. So if a pathogen enter in our body, the phagocytic cell they engulf the pathogen and digest it. Okay, in short, the phagocytic cell they kill the invader pathogen. Okay, but some pathogens they have some virus factors by which they can uh, prevent or escape the phagocytosis. Okay, well we'll know about this details later. Then penetrate. Okay, by some virulence factors, the pathogen they penetrate the host tissue and spread through. Okay, and some pathogens they produce enzymes which help them to spread in the body. Some produce toxin, which by which the disease is caused. Okay, so these are the things that the violence factors do. Okay, not the violence factors. By the violence factors, with the help of the violence factors, the pathogen do this kind of thing. And we know every of these things are necessary to cause the disease. Disease is a cumulative act of these things. Okay, then let's try to get some more idea about this thing. First, adherence. Okay? So we know what adherence is, right? That pathogen they attach to the host surface and it helps them from being washed off. And what kind of violence factors help for this thing? Adhesins or ligands. Okay, so many pathogens they have adhesions. Okay, adhesions or ligands in their body by which they can bind to the host cell. So when they bind to the host cell, basically they bind to the receptor of the host cell. Okay, so for example, Streptococcus. Okay, some Streptococcus bacteria, they have glycocalyx in their cell membrane, cell wall. The glycocalyx help them to get attached to the host tissue, and at the same time, they help them to escape the host host phagocytic cells. Okay. Another example, E. coli. It has fimbriae, and this fimbriae help E. coli to bind with the cell. Okay. Some bacteria, they have capsules. All the bacteria don't have capsules. Some bacteria have capsules. Say, for example, Streptococcus pneumoniae, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Haemophilus influenza. Okay, these bacteria have capsules, and these capsules help them to prevent phagocytosis and also help them for attachment with the host cell. Okay, so that means capsules help both both to adhere into the host cell, also to escape the host defense mechanism. That means escape the phagocytosis. Okay, adherence. Then so we already talked about adherence and phagocytosis and penetration. Okay, how the pathogen penetrates the host cell? Well, many bacteria, they produce enzymes and toxins. Okay, actually, many of the enzymes, they act as toxins. Okay, so some pathogens, they produce and secrete enzymes and toxins that contribute to their pathogenicity. Okay, for example, uh, pathogens may use the enzymes and toxins to avoid phagocytosis, also to penetrate the host cell. So, for example, a pathogen, it has attached to the host cell. Okay, attached to the host cells means they have attached in the cell wall of the host cell. Sorry, they have in the cell membrane of the host cell. So, if this pathogen want to get inside the host cell, they have to penetrate this cell membrane, right? So, many bacteria, they produce enzymes by which they can dissolve the or make a hole in the or puncture in the host cell membrane and get inside. Okay. Okay, there are some other examples.
Sir?
Yeah.
Vectors can't vectors be a mechanism of penetration?
Let's say
Vectors.
hmm?
Like
Let's
mosquitoes. Vectors.
vectors.
Yes, sir.
Okay, vectors. If a mosquito is a kit, right? So basically, it uses some enzyme to penetrate the skin.
So
I mean,
এটা
হ্যাঁ বলো বলো মানে মশা তো একটা কিট আর কি। হ্যাঁ, মশা যখন ওই যে কামড় দিয়ে তার যে কি জানি মশার এটা কি বলা হয়, মশার শুং নাকি, আচ্ছা যাই হোক, মশা যে তার সেটা স্কিন দিয়ে পেনিট্রেট করে তখন সে কিন্তু একটা এনজাইম ইউজ করে। দ্যাট এনজাইম হেল্প ইট টু পেনিট্রেট ইট। এইটার ইংলিশ কি, এটাকে কি বলে মশার এই যে লম্বা যে সূচের মতো থাকে?
এটা proboscis বলে, I think.
হ্যাঁ কি এটা কি বলে?
Proboscis মানে দাঁড়, আমি একটু গুগল করি।
আচ্ছা, আমি এটা ইংলিশ ভুলে গেছি। কিন্তু মসকিটো, I mean, if a mosquito want to bite us, it has to enter it. Hey, what is this called?
Sir, it's called the proboscis.
So,
Proboscis.
okay, whatever. Tough English. Okay. So you guys understood. I mean, understand what I wanted to say, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the mosquito actually it produces some enzyme by which it can dissolve the skin. The skin is a very tight thing. The skin is a very integrated structure. So it's difficult for anything to penetrate it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So some other examples of enzymes, some of enzymes by which the bacteria produce. Say, for example, coagulase. Coagulase is an enzyme. And some bacteria, not all the bacteria. Okay, so please keep it in your mind that not all the bacteria produce all kind of violence factors. Okay, different bacteria, they may produce different type of violence factors. It's not necessary that the same bacteria have to produce all the violence factors. Okay, please keep it in your mind. Okay, anyway, Coagulase. Coagulase is an enzyme. Some bacteria produce coagulase, and by this coagulase helps. Coagulase causes clotting of the blood. Okay, the blood gets clotted. So, how it helps the bacteria to cause disease? Okay, say for example, a bacteria enters the host cell. Okay, and they produce coagulase, and the blood will be get clotted. So this blood clot will stop the blood circulation, right? So if the blood circulation is stopped, then all the defense, all our defense cells, like the phagocytic cells, they actually travel in our body through the blood. So if the blood circulation is stopped, the cells, the defense cells will not be able to travel in our body. So they will not be able to kill the invaders, the invading pathogens. Okay. So this is one thing. Another is, say for example, a bacteria is inside our body, and with the help of coagulase enzyme, it has clotted all the blood surrounding it. So that means now that bacteria, they are inside a blood clot. So the defense cells, the phagocytic cells, they cannot reach to the pathogen and engulf it. Okay. So by this way, the coagulase, this enzyme helps bacteria to invade the phagocytic cell and also cause the disease. Okay. ধরো একটা ব্যাকটেরিয়া সে কোয়াগুলেস এনজাইম প্রডিউস করে, সে কি করবে? ধরো সে হচ্ছে বডির ভেতরে ঢুকে তার চারিদিকে হচ্ছে তোমার এরকম ব্লাড ক্লট করে ফেলবে। এখন ব্লাড ক্লটের ভিতরে ঢুকে আছে ব্যাকটেরিয়া, ফ্যাগোসাইটিক সেল তো তার কাছাকাছি যেতেই পারবে না, তাকে মারবে কিভাবে? ওকে, okay, another example, kinase. Kinase is an enzyme. Some bacteria, pathogen produce this kinase enzyme, and kinase enzyme helps to digest fibrin clot. Okay, fibrin clot is kind of, you can say, natural body defense. So whenever there is a damage in our body, okay, this damage may be damage caused by the bacteria. So whenever there is a damage in our body, our body try to repair it. And one step in that repairment is fibrin clot. Okay, fibrinogen is a part of it. Fibrinogen is found in our blood, and fibrinogen helps to make clot the damage. Because say for example, there is a damage inside our body. So through the damage, the blood can get out. Okay, so infection and inflammation will occur there. So the fibrinogen first try to prevent that or stop that blood leakage. Okay, so there is a clot. So kinase enzyme, some pathogen, they produce this kinase enzyme, and this kinase enzyme, they digest or dissolve the fibrin clot. Okay, and thus the bacteria, they can escape in our body. Okay, think in this way. Say for example, okay, a gut bacteria, okay, a gut pathogen, it has caused infection. When it enter in our body, it gets attached with the gut epithelial cell and cause infection there. That means it is causing some damage there. So what our body will try to do, as there is a damage, the body will make some clot there. Okay, just to prevent the infection. First, they will make some clot there using the fibrin clot. So if there is a clot, how the bacteria will spread? They cannot spread, right? So now, if the bacteria, they can produce kinase, so with the help of this kinase, they can dissolve this clot and then spread in our body. Did you understand what I said? Okay, I'll say it in Bangla again. ধরো হচ্ছে একটা প্যাথোজেন আমাদের গাটে গিয়ে ইনফেকশন করতেছে, সে তো গাটের টিস্যুটাকে ড্যামেজ করতেছে, রাইট? এখন যখনই ড্যামেজ হয় তখনই কিন্তু আমাদের ব্লাড ওই ড্যামেজ, আমাদের বডি কি করে ওই ড্যামেজ জায়গাটাকে রিপেয়ার করে। তো ড্যামেজ মানেই কিন্তু একটা ভাঙা ছেঁড়া, রাইট? তো প্রথমে হচ্ছে ব্লাড কিন্তু সেই জায়গাটাকে যখন রিপেয়ার করার চেষ্টা করে, প্রথমে না কিন্তু একটা ক্লটিং করে ফেলে আর কি। হচ্ছে আমাদের বডিতে যখন কেটে যায় কোনো জায়গায়, ক্লটিং হয় না? whenever there is a cut in our body, there is a clot, right? We all know that. আমরা বাইরে থেকে দেখি
Yes, sir. Sorry,
বললা?
sir. No, sir. Sorry, sir. I want to do
Okay.
again.
So there is a clot, right? So Now, say for example, আমাদের গাটের মধ্যে ব্যাকটেরিয়াটা হচ্ছে ক্লট করে ফেলছে, মানে ব্যাকটেরিয়া ইনফেকশন করছে, ইনফেকশনের ফলে ড্যামেজ হয়েছে, এখন আমাদের বডি ব্লাড এখানে সেখানে ক্লট করে ফেলতে আছে। ক্লট করে ফেললে ব্যাকটেরিয়া এখন স্প্রেড করবে কিভাবে? সামনে আগাতে গেলে তার সামনে তো ক্লট, হ্যাঁ, একটা শক্তি জিনিস। এখন যদি সেই ব্যাকটেরিয়া কাইনেজ প্রডিউস করতে পারে, কাইনেজের মেমটা, সেটা কাইনেজের মেম দিয়ে ক্লটটাকে ডিজলভ করে ফেলবে, তখন সে স্প্রেড করতে পারবে। ওকে, 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 দেন you're done with the, yeah.
কাইনেজটা এইভাবে ওয়ার্ক করে। সো মনে করেন দ্য প্যাথোজেনটা ইজ ট্রাইং টু এন্টার আমাদের বডি, আর বডি তো
হুম,
থ্রু আ কাট। সো তারপর
হুম,
বডি তো
হুম,
ডিফেন্স মেকানিজম হিসেবে ইট স্টার্টস ক্লটিং দ্য কাট এরিয়া। সো
yeah,
কাইনেজটা
yeah,
digest the clot, thus allowing নাকি the pathogen to enter more easily. এইভাবে?
yeah, 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 exactly. Okay. So you said about the cut in the skin. So this kind of cut or damage can occur both in outside and inside our body. But the thing is that তুমি যেটা বললে না এটাই ঘটবে, বাইরে ঘটুক আর ভেতরে ড্যামেজ হোক। হ্যাঁ, ইউর এক্স্যাক্টলি রাইট।
Okay. Thank you, sir.
ওকে, ওকে, দেন টক্সিন, very important virus factors. Okay, so many pathogens they produce different kind of toxin by which they can they cause the disease. So for example, Vibrio cholerae, it produces CTX toxin, right? Cholera toxin. Shigella dysentery, it produces Shiga toxin. Haemophilus influenza, they can cause hemolysin. Hemolysin, okay. So hemolysin lies the red blood cell by which the influenza causes the disease. Okay. So different pathogens they may produce different toxins by which they cause disease. Okay, so the toxins produced by the enzyme, they can be classified into two groups. Sorry, the toxin produced by the pathogen, they can be classified into two groups: endotoxins and exotoxins. Okay, so endotoxins from inside the cell released upon cell lysis. Okay, endotoxins are part of the bacterial cell. Okay. So, okay, for now, just remember these things. I will explain it later. Exotoxins. Exotoxins are not a body direct structural part of the cell. The bacteria, sorry, not only bacteria, many fungus also produce toxins, right? Okay. So, exotoxins is produced by the pathogen and then they secrete it. Okay. So, exotoxins means the pathogen produce these toxins and then they release it outside the body. Okay. But I'll talk about this, talk in more details about this endotoxins and exotoxins. Okay, I'm coming to it. So before that, to terminology, toxigenicity, it is the ability to produce a toxin. Toxemia, presence of toxin in the host blood. These two are just terminology. Okay? They used to characterize the effect of toxin or the pathogen. Okay. Okay, anyway. Exotoxin. So you already know. Say this is a cell, a pathogen. Okay, say a bacteria. So it produces toxin inside it and then secrete it outside. This type of toxins are called exotoxins. Okay, and toxins are produced. Toxins are proteins. Okay, all the enzymes and toxins are proteins. Okay, there are only few enzymes which are not protein. Otherwise, actually, all the enzymes are protein. Okay, so enzymes are proteins. They are toxins, and many of these enzymes and toxins, they are proteins. Okay, and many of these exotoxins, they actually are enzymes. Okay, many of these exotoxins are enzymes. I mean, they act like enzymes. Okay, anyway, so these are exotoxins and the genes by from which the exotoxins are encoded are carried on the plasmid or phages of the bacteria. So you know, bacteria have two kind of genetic materials, right? They have chromosomal DNA and also extra chromosomal DNA, say plasmid or phasmid. Okay, or phages can be get phages, the bacteriophage. Okay, phages can be get integrated into the bacterial uh, chromosomal DNA. Okay, so usually the genes which are required for exotoxin production are in the plasmid or phages. Okay. Okay, anyway. Okay, so exotoxins are mostly produced by gram-positive bacteria. Although some, okay, few gram-negative bacteria can produce exotoxins, but mainly exotoxins are produced by gram-positive bacteria. Okay, now,
Sir, phage na
yeah.
phage na bacteria ke attack করে, so why are those endotoxins found inside phages? নাকি আমি স্লাইডটা ভুল করছি?
কি বললো? আবার বলো তো?
Genes for most exotoxins are carried on bacteria. Sir, exotoxin bacteria produce করে? So these are produced by bacteria, right?
Yeah.
So এখানে আবার লেখা যে genes for most exotoxins are carried on bacterial plasmids or phages. But
Okay,
we know that bacteriophages are নাম কি enemies to bacteria. They
well,
typically destroy or kill
well,
bacteria.
you know, many of the bacterial genes they came from phages. So here phages means not the complete bacterial phages. Okay, these phages means the phages which are integrated into the bacterial cell chromosome. You know, the phages have lots of contribution in evolution. Okay, you know, so many genes of the bacteria once they were phages. I mean, they were the genes of phages. You understand what I mean? So here phages mean those part of the DNA which actually came from bacteriophage. Okay?
Sir, phage কি ব্যাকটেরিয়া থেকে evolve করছে?
No. But basically, we actually don't know from where the phages evolved. We don't know that thing. So, but the many evolution, okay, many evolution in the bacteria. So, for example, many bacteria they get resistance, right, against like or they adapt to utilize new environment. Or say, for example, many bacteria they say, for example, a virulent bacteria. A virulent bacteria means they cannot cause disease. They can become virulent because of the phage. So, for example, a bacteriophage it carries genes necessary to cause disease. Okay, imagine bacteriophage it carries genes which is necessary to cause disease. Now, say this bacteriophage infected a bacteria and transfer this. If it follow lysogenic, I mean the lysogenic cycle, all the phage don't follow the lytic cycle, right? So if this phage follow the lysogenic cycle, there is a chance that the gene of this bacteriophage will be transferred into the host gene. Then that bacteria will become virulent. Did you get it?
So phages can activate a virulent bacteria to becoming virulent.
Yeah, they can. Actually, you know, the truth is for many times, actually, many virulent bacteria, they got virulent because of the phages. Okay, so this is a mechanism of gene transfer from one cell to another. There are lots of other mechanisms. So phages is one of them. Okay, by which the bacteria can get new genes and become virulent from avirulent. Okay. You are right. This is one mechanism, not the only mechanism. Okay, this is one of the mechanisms by which a bacterial cell can get foreign DNA. Hmm. This also.
Ji sir.
Okay. Okay. So the exotoxins, they can be different types. Okay, basically there are three types of exotoxins. And the exotoxins, they can classified into three types: cytotoxin, neurotoxin, enterotoxin. Cytotoxins, by this kind of toxins, the pathogen kill and destroy the target host cell completely. Okay. Say example, Shigella dysentery, it produces a Shiga toxin, and this Shiga toxin completely destroy the cell. The luminal epithelial cell. Luminal epithelial cell means the epithelial cell of our gut. Okay. Then another type, neurotoxin. From the name, neuro, it means brain, the nerve. Okay. So the neurotoxins, they interfere with the normal nerve impulses or normal nerve activity. Example, Clostridium tetani, whatever. So this bacteria, it produces a toxin, tetanus toxin. You all heard the name, I guess. The tetanus toxin. Tetanus toxin is a neurotoxin. It interferes with the nerve impulse. So that's why tetanus toxin can cause paralysis in our body. Okay. So I mean, our body cells, many of our body cells. Say for example, our cells in the hand, they need to continuously uh, contracted and then again relaxed. Contraction, relax. Okay. But if the neurotoxin interfere with this, I mean these things, I mean our say suppose the cells of our hand, the হাতের cell গুলা তাদের contraction হচ্ছে, relax হচ্ছে. So this contraction and relax, these things are controlled by the nerve, right? So this kind of toxin, they can interfere with that thing. So the contraction and then relax, this will be hampered. So maybe let's say for example our cells are continuously contracted. It will be paralyzed, right? We will not be able to move our hands. Okay. Okay. Then another type of exotoxin, enterotoxin. Enterotoxin. Whenever this word entero, this refers to the GI tract. Okay. So this kind of toxins, they affect the cells of our gastrointestinal tract. Say the CTX toxin or cholera toxin produced by Vibrio cholerae. It is an enterotoxin. Okay. So many of the exotoxins. So now let's try to get a overall. Okay. So okay. So not the meaning of this exotoxin. The enterotoxins. Okay. Actually, many of the enterotoxins, they are AB toxins. You already know about AB toxin, right? You know the Vibrio cholerae CTX toxin, the mechanism of CTX toxin, the cholera toxin, how it causes it.
Ji
It was
sir.
the AB toxin, right? জানো
Yes
তো
sir.
না AB toxin তোমরা already জানো. Okay. Well, so there are many enterotoxins, other enterotoxins which are actually AB toxins. And the basic mechanisms are same, kind of. Okay, basic mechanisms doesn't mean that all the enterotoxin will cause diarrhea, right? Basic mechanisms means the step. Okay, I'll explain by this part. So first, I mean enterotoxin is a exotoxin. Enterotoxin is a exotoxin. So definitely the bacteria. So this is the bacteria. It will produce the toxin inside its cell, and then it will release the toxin. Then this toxin will bind to its target host cell, to the receptor. We already know that any toxin, they cannot bind any cell, right? So a toxin, it cannot bind, so the Vibrio cholerae toxin, it cannot bind to every cell, right? It only binds to the cell which has the GM GM1 GM1 receptor. Okay, so for toxins, different toxins, there are different receptors. So say for example, this is a exotoxin, and it's a enterotoxin, and it will bind to a specific host cell. So which are those host cells who have the receptor for this toxin. Okay, so after this toxin is bound with the target cell, then to either it will act like a Vibrio toxin. I mean, the one part, the B part will be outside and only the A part will get inside. Or the whole toxin, they can get inside the cell. After that, the A and B part will be get separated and the B part will be either digested or get released from the cell. So only the A part will be inside and A part will get activated, then it will cause the damage. And this damage can be different. Say, for example, in case of uh, cholera toxin, it interferes with the adenine cycle, and it mess up with the ion channels, right? The sodium channel, chloride channel. Okay. So different toxins, they have different kind of effects. Some toxins, they may interfere with the production of a certain protein, which may be required for the host cell to survive. Okay. So these are the basic steps followed by the enterotoxin. Okay, I need another 5 minutes to finish today's class. Okay, we are done with the exotoxins. Now, endotoxins. Well, as I said before, endotoxin is a part. Endotoxin is a structural part of the bacteria. Okay. So what I mean by a structural part? Can you remember the cell wall structure of the gram-negative bacteria, or the cell wall structure of bacteria, especially the gram-negative bacteria? In the cell wall of gram-negative bacteria, there was a thing named LP, right? Lipopolysaccharide.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's okay if you cannot remember. If you just check after this class, you'll remember, I guess. So the gram-negative bacterial cell wall, they have LPS, and this LPS is the endotoxin. Another name of LPS is lipid A. Okay.
Sir, LPS, lipopolysaccharide, no?
Yeah, lipopolysaccharide or lipopolysaccharide. Yeah. Basically, this is a structural part of the bacterial cell wall, and this is the toxin. This is the endotoxin. So, when a gram-negative bacteria is intact, there is no toxin. But if this gram-negative bacteria get disrupted, then the LPS will get released, and then it will act as a toxin. You understand my point?
So একটু repeat করতে পারবেন?
Okay. So when a gram-negative bacteria is intact, মানে ধরো একটা gram-negative bacteria সে intact অবস্থায় আছে, then there is no toxin. But when this gram-negative bacteria is disrupted, মানে gram-negative bacteria সেলটা যখন ভেঙে চুরে যাবে, then this LPS will be released from that bacterial cell, right?
জি স্যার।
একটা মানে ধরো gram-negative bacteria intact অবস্থায় আছে, LPS তো তার সেল ওয়ালের মধ্যে আছে, সে তো টক্সিন হিসেবে কাজ করতে পারবে না। বাট যখন এই gram-negative bacterial সেলটা ধরো ভেঙে যাবে, লাইসিস হয়ে যাবে এই সেলটা, তখন এই LPS-টা তো আর সেল ওয়ালে নাই, সে এখন রিলিজ হয়ে গেল না?
তো LPS গুলো হচ্ছে এন্ডোটক্সিন।
এক্স্যাক্টলি।
আচ্ছা, জি স্যার, বুঝতে পেরেছি।
So when a gram-negative cell wall get lysed, the LPS they get released from the cell wall and then they can act as endotoxin. So that's why all endotoxins, they produce same sign and symptoms. I mean, what I mean say for example, X is a gram-negative bacteria, Y is a gram-negative bacteria. Both have LPS in their cell wall. Okay. So upon lysis, both will produce the same endotoxin, LPS. So the sign and symptom will be same. For exotoxins, different bacteria they produce different types of exotoxins. So the sign and symptom of the disease will be different, right? But all the gram negative, they produce the same endotoxin, LPS. I mean, they don't produce the, okay, I mean, they don't produce APS as a toxin. APS is a part of their body. Okay. So LPS is same for all the gram negative bacteria. So when this LPS will act as, I mean, upon lysis, the LPS will be released from the cell wall and they will cause the disease. And the LPS is same for all the gram negative bacteria. So the sign and symptom produced by all the gram negative bacteria will be kind of similar. I mean, the caused by the LPS will be similar. Okay. Okay. So, and what are those sign and symptoms? The endotoxin or LPS, they cause this sign and symptom. First, they cause fever. Then the host get weak. Then, if untreated, shock will happen, and it will cause the death of the patient. I mean, first sign, fever. Then, eventually, the patient will become weak. And if untreated, or I mean, say if the host they cannot kill the bacteria, I mean, their immune system fail to fight against the infection, or if untreated without any medicine, then eventually they may enter into the shock process. I'll tell you what is shock, and if the patient enter into the shock, they may die. Okay. Okay, please allow me another 5 minutes. Okay. আচ্ছা, এখন আমরা এই কয়টা নিয়ে একটু আলোচনা করি, হ্যাঁ, নেক্সট। So how the fever is caused by endotoxin. So fever. So when the endotoxigenic bacteria are phagocytosed, the LPS is released. I mean, the gram-negative bacteria, it enter in our body, or phagocytic cell engulf it. I mean, they try to kill it. So our phagocytic cell engulf the gram-negative bacteria and they phagocytose it. That means they lyse the bacteria, so the LPS gets released. Okay, and when the LPS is released, the phagocytic cell they try to neutralize the LPS, and to do that they produce interleukin 1. It's a cytokine. Okay, just remember, it's a cytokine. It's a chemical produced by the phagocytic cell in response to LPS. Okay, so when this interleukin 1 is produced by the phagocytic cell, this IL-1, interleukin 1, it comes to the bloodstream, and through the blood it goes to our brain, specifically to the hypothalamus of our brain. Okay, and then our brain gets a signal to produce excess heat by accelerating metabolism. Okay, then when the IL-1 it really goes to the hypothalamus of our brain, prostaglandins is released from the brain first. Okay, prostaglandins released from the brain fastest energy generation and produce excess heat, which is seen as fever. Okay, so what is the thing? I mean, whenever LPS is released, our phagocytic cell they produce this. And LPS causes the production of interleukin. And what this interleukin do? They reach the hypothalamus of our brain. And hypothalamus, actually, this is the gland which controls the production of heat of our body. Okay. So when interleukin 1 reach to the hypothalamus, it induces a signal. Okay. And this signal causes the release of prostaglandins, and this prostaglandins cause the fever. আপাতত একটু মনে রাখো, হ্যাঁ। I mean, the details of interleukin or how these things is happening, you will not understand at this time. You will understand these things when you will study immunology. There is a course, MIC 300, MIC 300, it is immunology, so you will understand these things at the time. Okay, more details. Okay. Okay, so this is the mechanism how fever is caused, then weakness. Okay. So why the patient feel weak? Because the LPS often cause blood to clot, okay, in small particles, which obstructs oxygenation in major tissues, causing inability to function and weakness. So what happens? The LPS cause blood clot. LPS এর কারণে blood clot হয়ে যায়. So that's why the blood cannot circulate properly. So if blood cannot circulate properly, our tissue will not get enough oxygen, because oxygen is transferred in our body through blood. So that if blood cannot circulate in our body tissue will not get enough oxygen. So that's why we will feel weak. Because if our cells do not get enough oxygen, then our cells will not be able to produce energy. Okay, so that's why we will feel weak. Okay, then if untreated, I mean, if we do not give medicine to the infected person, or if the infected person's body defense system fail to prevent the infection, then eventually they will enter into the shock. So what shock means? Okay, I'll go back to this one. What LPS is doing? It's causing blood clot. That means the blood is not properly circulating in our body, so our body tissue is not getting enough oxygen. Okay, due to these things, and because of the clot, the blood cannot circulate properly in our body. That means our blood pressure will decrease, right? If the blood cannot circulate properly in our body, there is not enough blood in our body, so the blood pressure will decrease. And because of the decrease of the blood pressure, the organ will fail. Well, actually what happens, whenever the blood pressure is low, enough blood is not circulating. That means our tissue will not get enough oxygen. Our cell, our organ will not get enough oxygen. So if our organ cannot get enough oxygen, they cannot function, right? Because without oxygen they cannot produce energy. Without energy they can, I mean, the organ needs energy to work. And how they can get the energy? They produce this energy by using oxygen. So if our organ, they do not get, actually not the organ, the cell of the organ. So if our, okay, in general I will say organ, if our organs they cannot get enough oxygen, their cell will begin to die. Because for the living they need oxygen, right?
স্যার শকের জন্য কত এলপিএস লাগবে আমাদের ব্লাড সিস্টেমের মধ্যে? Because this seems rather like for severe cases.
Okay, the exact amount I don't know. Okay, I have to check. So okay, it's not like that. So for example, we are frequently, I mean, actually every moment, or frequently many, I mean, some gram-negative bacteria in our body, and they, I mean, enter in our body, and our body kill that bacteria. LPS is produced, but our body defense system, they can neutralize certain amount of LPS. আমাদের বডিতে এরকম যখনই গ্রাম নেগেটিভ ব্যাকটেরিয়া তো যাই আমাদের বডি, আমরা কন্টিনিউয়াসলি গ্রাম মানে বিভিন্ন ব্যাকটেরিয়া দিয়ে এক্সপোজ হই আর কি। এলপিএস প্রডিউসও হয়, কিন্তু সেই এলপিএস আমাদের বডি ক্লিয়ারও করে ফেলতে পারে। So here comes the ID50 value. Okay, so toxins also have ID50 value. Okay, so sorry I forget the minimum requirement of LPS to cause disease. Okay, একটু চেক করতে হবে। Perfect. Okay, so okay, we are in shock. So if the blood pressure fails, our organ will not get enough oxygen, and the tissue of that organ will begin to die. This is called shock. If a certain amount of or cells of the organ die, then the organ will stop working. This is called organ failure. Okay. So why the organ fails? Okay, here is the cause. LPS often induces production of a chemical, TNF. LPS induces the production of TNF, and this TNF increase vascular permeability and water exocytosis. Okay, serum moves out of blood into tissues and cerebrospinal fluid moves out of meningitis into cavities. As a result, blood pressure drops and brain undergoes extreme dehydration. If not attenuated quickly, shock can lead to death by brain failure. Okay, I will explain it briefly. Okay, I mean in more easily. That how LPS decrease the blood, lower the blood pressure. One thing is they make blood clot. So enough blood cannot, because of the blood clot, blood cannot circulate throughout our body. This is one cause. Another major cause, the major mechanism by which LPS decrease our blood pressure is LPS damage the uh, integrity of our blood vessels, veins. Say for example veins. Okay, we know the blood vessel. আমাদের blood vessel আছে না, এগুলোকে আমরা কি বলি? বাংলায় আমরা রগ বলি না, artery, vein. Okay, these are the vasculature, artery, vein. We call them vasculature. The blood flow through this uh, uh, artery and vein. The wall of the artery or vein, they're very strong. They're very strong. Nothing can leak out. Artery or vein এর ভেতর থেকে কোনো কিছু বের হয়ে যেতে পারে না. But the LPS, what they can do, the LPS, they can cause the production of TNF. This TNF can damage the wall of the blood vessel, wall of the vein or artery. So if the cell wall of vein of artery is damaged, then the liquid portion of the blood, that is the serum, they can get out of the blood vessel. Okay, this is called hemorrhage. Okay, anyway, so the liquid portion of the blood, the serum, they can get out of the blood vessel. So if it happens, the blood pressure will goes down. The blood pressure will decrease. If blood pressure is decreased, our organ will not get enough oxygen. So eventually our cell of our organ will die and the organ will stop working. That is, organ failure will occur. Okay? Just 1 minute, 1 more minute. So then portal of exit, the final one. So for example, a bacteria enter in our body, it causes the infection, it causes the disease, and after that, it has caused damages of the tissue of our body. Then after that, finally it will exit from our body. So like the preferred portal of entry, different pathogens, they exit from our body through different portals. So for example, some they exit from our body by coughing or sneezing, হাঁচি কাশির মাধ্যমে. Say for example, COVID-19 or the Streptococcus pneumoniae. They get released, exit from our body by coughing or sneezing. The Vibrio cholerae. Okay, the Vibrio cholerae, they exit our body through the stool. Okay. So for example, HIV. HIV cannot exit our body through stool or coughing or sneezing. HIV exit our body only through blood. Okay. So malaria, Plasmodium vivax, malaria. Okay. They cannot exit our body through coughing or sneezing or stool. The malaria, that is the Plasmodium vivax, they can exit our body through mosquito. When the mosquito bites us, when a mosquito bites a malaria-infected patient, the Plasmodium vivax, it gets into the mosquito, gets inside the mosquito, and if this mosquito bites another person, then they will get the Plasmodium vivax. So different pathogens, they use different exit portal. So this portal of entry and portal of exit, these are very important in regarding the transmission of pathogens. Okay. These are very important actually regarding the transmission of pathogens. So, like for example, COVID-19, it exit our body through sneezing or coughing, and it also enters our body through the respiratory tract. Okay. So we actually have to have clear idea about the portal of exit and portal of entry. Otherwise, we cannot take the preventive action to prevent the spread of a disease, transmission of a disease. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it. Okay, so class is done. Okay, so the class is finished. Okay, so if you have any question, I am here. I can answer you. Or so all of you don't have to be in the class. Okay, so it's up to you. I mean, if you want, you can leave. Or if you have any question, I'll happy to answer.
স্যার আমাদের অ্যাসাইনমেন্টে কি ডু উই হ্যাভ টু সাইট আমাদের রিসোর্সেস বা এরকম কিছু?
কোনটা?
আমাদের যে অ্যাসাইনমেন্টটা আছে
হ্যাঁ,
ওইটাতে আমাদের কি সোর্সেস সাইট করতে হবে? যে আমরা এই
সোর্সেস সাইট করলে ভালো, হ্যাঁ। Okay, frankly speaking, I mean, for MIC 101, this course, I mean, it's okay. If anyone don't give the sources, I am fine. Okay, just because it's entry level course. But it's better if we can put the citation.
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে
Now, citation is not the exact scientific citation, just the reference. I mean, okay, I took this information from there.
আমি আসলে এপিআই সাইটেশন এত ভালো না, সো একটু ভুল করলে I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine. I mean, you're just you're just special. So it's fine. Okay. You just can put the reference. Yeah. Ultimately, citation দাও তোমরা শিখেই যাবে, হ্যাঁ, এত চিন্তা করো না, আস্তে আস্তে শিখে যাবে। রেফারেন্স দেওয়া উচিত, হ্যাঁ। In science, we should give the reference always. So I mean, we always should give the credit. Okay. আর কোনো question?
স্যার আমাদের ফাইনাল ডেট কবে?
গুড কোয়েশ্চেন। ফাইনাল ডেট কবে? দাঁড়াও দেখে নিই। কারো মনে আছে ফাইনাল ডেট কবে?
আপনার মনে হয় বলেন না এখন?
বলি নাই, দাঁড়াও আমি নিজেও জানি এটা ইউপিসিতে লেখা থাকে, দেখি। হয়ে গেল, এক মিনিট। Fall 2020. January 4th, the final exam date.
January 4th?
Yep.
Okay, sir.
January 4th. Okay. So don't worry too much about the final. It will be just like another exam.
ওকে স্যার। স্যার আমাদের উইক 8 এর লেকচার ভিডিওগুলো কি আপলোড হবে স্যার?
আচ্ছা শোনো, I mean, for this one, lecture 13, please follow the class record, okay?
Okay, sir.
Please follow this one, and I will upload the video of the next chapter. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. So for lecture 13, please follow this one. Okay. And please study this lecture. I mean, this chapter, pathogenesis is a very important thing. So if you have any question, please ask next class. We have only one more class, right?
একটাই ক্লাস আছে শুধু?
দেখে নিন দাদা। Yeah, we have only one more class. Okay. So if you have any question, please ask me in the next class. Okay. If you have any problem, please feel free to knock me. You can directly knock in my WhatsApp or cell phone, or you can write in the Google Classroom. So if necessary, we can arrange a discussion time. Okay. So like say for example, in the next class, you couldn't find any question, but later when while doing a study, you got some question. Please feel free to knock me. Okay. Feel free to knock me. You can arrange a discussion time. No problem. Okay, then I think we're done for today. Any more question? If no question, then Tata bye.